Master Sergeant Brandon Staudt is an example of a modern-day hero. He has persevered through adversity, great and small, in order to become the man he is today. He works as a carpenter in the Air Force and has aided in the construction of structures vital to the success of many operations he has been a part of. But he has also built friendships that have weathered the test of time. Prior to his service, he lived in the town of Robesonia in Pennsylvania, where he was born and raised. His decision of joining the Air Force was wholeheartedly supported by both of his parents, Deb and Carrie Staudt. He enlisted in the National Guard for the Air Force shortly after he graduated from Conrad Weiser High School. Through the Air Force, he also has been able to go to both Penn State University and ultimately the American Military University. He describes his enlistment process as a relatively quick and simple experience, and a highlight of his enlistment was his recruiter, who was, as best stated in his own words, as someone who
helped me through the whole process, and I've known him ever since then.
Stout's primary reason for enlisting was the opportunity to receive education through the service, and this is what led him to join the Air Force because he states,
I knew I wanted to do like something in the construction trades. They offered the best schooling for that. They also offered the best sign-on bonus.
This would prove to be one of the many hardships Master Sergeant Staudt weathered and persevered through. Staudt describes his basic training as stressful, but he also states that
you think it's kind of like the end of the world. They're obviously breaking you down and yelling at you and telling you you're going to fail and all that stuff, but really all they're doing is just breaking you down to set you up for success. So you go in and you have your gas mask on, and then you have to, for us, they made us take our mask off and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Due to him being in the reserves, it was especially difficult to balance these things. Yet he found a way to balance all of this and ultimately persevere.
What was interesting was you come back from basic training in tech school, and it's very regimented. It's like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, like all that type of stuff. And then you come back into the civilian lifestyle for a little while. Like I came back and I was home for a few weeks, just doing my own thing, getting ready to go to school, working the job, all that type of stuff. And then I had to go back down to the base. You go back down to the base, and it's like you flip the switch. Now you're military. I mean, that was just because you would be, you'd be working all day, and then you would get done working. Obviously, you could go to the beach or go hang out and see the different sites and all that type of stuff. That's where I got to see Pearl Harbor and stay on the Air Force Base across from Pearl Harbor and all that.
During his service, Staudt has traveled to lots of different places, some being Germany, Guam, several Middle Eastern countries, Guatemala, and El Salvador. In the Middle East, Staudt was involved in lots of different construction projects. One big project was a hospital in Qatar.
We built a medical facility which was designed for like a staging facility for medical casevacs. So if guys were hurt in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere like that, they came to Qatar, and we had a 16-bed facility that we built that they would be able to go through their medical, be looked at medically before they could go to Germany and go to the big hospital.
Of all the places that Staudt has traveled to, he enjoyed his time in Hawaii the most. He said this about his experience there.
And that was just because you would be, you'd be working all day, and then you would get done working. Obviously, you could go to the beach or go hang out and see the different sites and all that type of stuff. That's where I got to see Pearl Harbor and stay on the Air Force Base across from Pearl Harbor and all that.
Through his hard work and dedication, Staudt is now a superintendent of a construction shop, while also working at Northeast Cargo Training Center, where he trains people for drug-related instances.
So what we do is we train law enforcement officers on narcotics-related instances. So anything drug-related is what we train them on. So there's a lot of different training that we do, and I evaluate.
One of the best parts of the military are the bonds that you build with your unit. Staudt says,
my best friends are, in my unit or were in my unit. They're basically your brothers. I look at them like family. So I've had people, come and go. You go through. You build those relationships. Like I said, some are still my best friends. Some have passed away. Some have, moved on to bigger and better things, or moved to different states or things like that. So there's a lot of different relationships that were built.
with his free time, Staudt never ran out of things to do, as him and his construction unit used their skills to make some cool entertainment for themselves.
So we would build like shuffleboard tables. We built like a little movie theater thing, where we acquired some couches and built like platform seating and put a TV on the wall and different things like that. We built ping pong tables. You name it. We would build all kinds of stuff. So as far as like recreational, we were never short on things to do.
Staudt had learned lots of things during his service, such as management, leadership skills, parenting skills, and survival skills.
On the road. So like there's someone pulled over one time, and like the guy was legitimately having a heart attack, and you learn like CPR training and all that type of stuff. So the ambulance was on his way, and luckily the ambulance was right behind me, but like I was able to get him out of the car and put him on the ground. He had a tie on, like taking his tie off, getting him at least comfortable, so that way as soon as EMS got up, they could provide the assistance. But if I would needed to, I knew how to do CPR and some first aid and self-care type stuff. So there's a lot of skills that transition to everyday life.
Lots of people formulate opinions about the military without having first-hand experience. Staudt says he has a different level of respect for someone in the service than a normal person would. He said,
"For me, it's like a lot of times you get the thank you for your service type thing, which is great. Like I think it's awesome that happens. But to me, I look at it as like I volunteered for this. No one told me I had."
Staudt says that joining the military was the best decision he ever made. When enlisting, he was only planning on doing 6 years so he could get his college paid for, but is now almost at 18 years and is still serving today. He didn't expect this to happen, as he said.
So I was just going to do 6 and get out, and that obviously didn't play out how I anticipated.
The biggest thing that Staudt wants us to remember about his service is that it is a huge sacrifice. He said,
like the sacrifice that other people make, it's not just like us, the service members who make it. It's like obviously our families when we deploy, and our families are left here, and they just gotta keep going through their daily.
In conclusion, Master Sergeant Brandon Staudt has exemplified the true capacity of service which regular people can achieve through resilience. He has weathered all of the hardships and difficulties that have arisen in the name of making the world safer and protecting the freedoms we often take for granted. We would like to take this time to thank him for his service and sacrifices.